Springdale Public Schools is calling this a strategic reorganization plan, saying it will help the district better support the evolving needs of students in Springdale and across the region.
Our efforts are to pay as well as we can, but with a declining enrollment, it's really hard to do. And it's really hard to do with multiple sites.
The plan would transition Jones Elementary into Jones Prep Academy. District leaders say the facility will offer a high support environment for students who need help with behavior regulation, while also moving Jones students into what they call more modern learning spaces at Bayyari and Knapp Elementary.
It moves to protect that all of our vital district assets are protected. It saves potentially millions of dollars that we can repurpose and put back into our schools.
No parents spoke about Jones Elementary during public comment, but in the days leading up to the vote, some parents took to social media, saying there's been a lot of positive change at Bayyari over the last 6 months, and they're concerned about losing teachers and staff. One school board member expressed hesitation before moving forward, noting families haven't yet had a chance to weigh in.
I feel pretty strongly like that we need to give the families that are impacted a chance to say something, you know, to kind of see what the solution is and see what the problem is and what we're trying to solve, because I do see the problem. I am an accountant. I know this is like a really innovative and a really great solution from a financial standpoint. It makes a lot of sense, but our kids are our first priority.
Like I said, we tried to ask Springdale Schools for an interview, but they declined our request. And in a press release sent after tonight's vote, the district said, quote, to provide a familiar transition, the Jones administration team will lead Bayyari Elementary and will facilitate appropriate staffing transitions moving forward. The district says the next step is holding community information sessions for families at Jones Elementary. Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Cave Springs City Council voting tonight to pay only a part of what the city owes in back taxes. The city owed more than $99,000 dating back to 2019 after what the city had called an accounting error. They've already paid more than $105,000 in penalties and interest, but council members said tonight they will have to pay even more in penalties after the IRS catches up. An audit of the city's finances is still ongoing, and the city faces a lawsuit from a former city treasurer and clerk who claims she was stripped of her duties. The city also discussed an ordinance tonight that would split the position into two, but no action was taken. Fort Smith City directors tonight began talking about bringing back an ordinance they voted against in late 2024 that prohibits any form of camping or sleeping on city property. The ordinance voted down then mirrored a law passed by City Council in Oregon that made it through the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, the board also talked about new bids that came in to install the new water slides at Parrot Island Water Park. There will be 2 projects involved with this. One will be the foundation, the structures, and mechanical systems. The other will install the plumbing, pumps, and pool equipment. That issue was placed on next week's regular meeting agenda to be decided. Now, at the end of that meeting, mayoral candidate Shane McKinney announced starting tomorrow, his team will begin collecting signatures to get an issue on the November ballot. He says the effort will be to change the form of government in Fort Smith from administrator form to a mayoral form of government.
I feel like I found a lot of supporters and a lot of people that are ready to make a change. I know that you guys are about to start an administrative search, and I feel like this is going to probably become a challenge for that. It probably isn't going to help the administrator's search during that time. I think the writing is on the wall that the citizens don't like the way our government has been deciding things for a very long time.
Kenny says the effort only needs 2,916 signatures to get the issue on the ballot for this November. We're also following up on a story we first told you last September. The family of a man who died in Arkansas Department of Human Services custody has now filed a petition to seek a financial settlement. 21-year-old Zachary Moore was a resident at the Southeast Arkansas Human Development Center. He died following an incident where he tried to bite staff who later chemically injected him. An official death certificate lists his death as a homicide. 5 months later, his mother, Angela Stevens of Greenwood, filed a petition seeking a $725,000 settlement. It'll be discussed at a state capitol subcommittee meeting on Monday. DHS says the 12 people involved in the incident have been fired and the development center has undergone a leadership change. They also told us in a statement, quote, an on-site consultant is in the process of full review of center operations and policies. They didn't comment on the settlement, but said, quote, DHS deeply regrets the death. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Turning Point CEO Erica Kirk will make an announcement tomorrow at the Arkansas Governor's Mansion. The two expected to discuss future efforts to get the conservative group's chapters into high schools and colleges. Before the scheduled announcement, the Young Democrats of Arkansas will hold its own press conference. The group says it will discuss alternative paths for getting young people involved. Both of those will be streaming for free tomorrow on our 5 News Plus website starting at noon. It's been 3 years now since the LEARNS Act was passed in Arkansas, and state leaders are reflecting how the controversial mega funding bill is changing education in the state. In an interview with our sister station in Little Rock, Secretary of Education Jacob Oliva discussed some of the impacts he's seen from the LEARNS Act, talked everything from third grade reading levels to the Bell-to-Bell No Cell Act. He also reflected on the controversial voucher program that gives some families funding for private school tuition.
The public schools are fully funded based on the process that's been in law for decades in this state. Nobody's going underfunded. It's a misnomer. That's not true. The pot of money and dollars to fund students that are participating in educational freedom accounts comes from a separate part of the budget. So we need to make sure all students and families get the opportunity to be in an educational environment that works best for them.
You can read the full interview with Secretary Oliva on our website at 5newsonline.com. He also is set to visit Oakdale Middle School in Rogers tomorrow to see the future of teaching math in Arkansas. Today, entertainment company Live Nation announced plans to bring a new major indoor music venue to Bentonville. The plan is to have it located right next to the Momentary. If approved, Bentonville Ballroom would bring national touring artists, community events, and local performances to downtown Bentonville. Developers estimate the 2,500 capacity venue could generate more than $46 million in economic impact each year while supporting 280 jobs.
We know that we've seen that $200 million music industry events happening at the Momentary that are already creating an economic impact. So we want to continue to grow on that and see that happening in the future. And we think we can do that in a partnership with Live Nation.
City will still have to approve the plans, but Live Nation hopes to have it open by 2028. Comes a day after Live Nation reached a settlement in an antitrust lawsuit. Now, the company was sued by the Department of Justice for limiting competition in the music industry and creating higher ticket prices. Settlement says Live Nation will have to pay $280 million in penalties and sell at least 13 of its amphitheaters. Multiple states are continuing the lawsuit in federal court. Arkansas is not one of them. The Attorney General's office told us yesterday it supports the terms of the settlement and, quote, welcomes this resolution.